On today's Apple Daily, Apple grows in September quarter even without an iPhone launch. Apple One launches today. Getting bugged by phantom updates on your phone, iCave answers, and Notification Squad updates.
This is the Apple Daily.
I'm David for living on iPad, and I simplify Apple so that everything just works for you. And if you want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours every weekday at 12 UTC, plus other shows sprinkled in as and when I can, like the video, subscribe and ring the bell so that you don't miss a thing. And we'll be updating our Notification Squad later in this video. So if you watched yesterday's video, apologies, there was a bit of an issue with the audio. The microphone decided to start crapping out partway through the show, well actually right from the beginning, but I didn't know until I was in the edit, and then we only got an hour or so before the show was going to go live. So not a great deal I could do, but we were filming that at about 6 AM yesterday. It is now 6:40 today here, and new microphone has already arrived. It's on. My old microphone just decided to basically crap out partway through, so apologies for that, but hopefully that is all fixed today. So let's get into the news. Apple grows in September quarter even without an iPhone launch. So last night Apple did their quarterly earnings call, which is part of their duty as a publicly traded company in the US, which basically means you get Tim Cook and the financial officers and stuff on a call so that the investors can hear, and so that they can kind of either give guidance for the following year or explain where their revenues came from, all that kind of thing. So Tim Cook arrived on stage, well, on the phone stage, I suppose. Good afternoon, mixing it up. It's normally a good morning from Tim. Talked about how they've had to make difficult calls with limited information through COVID. Their revenues for the quarter, 64.7 billion, which is a record September quarter, even without the iPhone launch being in it. So normally the iPhone launch would come in the last 2 weeks of the September quarter. So they would get a little boost there. They get a big chunk of their annual iPhone sales come in that first week because everyone wants to upgrade, which makes absolute sense. This year, obviously, the iPhones were down because of the delayed launch because of COVID, but their revenues in total were up 1% from last year, which is really impressive, to be completely honest, when they're missing that huge chunk of revenue. Overall, products dropped slightly, which is basically because of that iPhone, but the additional revenue from services, which were up 16%, pushed the total revenues past the previous year. The other thing that really made a big difference this time was Macs. Macs hit an all-time record for any quarter, which was $9 billion in sales, which is up 1.6 billion from the best they'd had in the past. So that's a pretty big jump. What's that, about 18%? Something like that. Stronger than expected performance on services. September quarter record in India because they just launched the Apple Store online there. Apple One is launching on October the 30th. That was announced on the call, but we will be touching on that very shortly. They did not give any direction for the December quarter, which is basically the quarter that we're now into, but said it should be strong because of the launches of the iPhones. They've had a really good start. Every category apart from the iPhone grew in double digits percentage-wise, which is just huge. And Tim Cook is very bullish on this iPhone cycle. 4 models released for the first time, reaching out to switchers, people coming over from Android, and a once-in-a-decade opportunity with 5G. And a great start for iPhone 12 and 12 Pro. They didn't bring anyone in from Verizon, which I thought was disappointing. You know, that was probably the highlight of the iPhone release event, was hearing about how great Verizon's coverage is in places, and also 5G. And also, they've now got 5G, and they've got 5G. And 5G is fast, and they have 5G. Unless you don't live in America, in which case 5G is kind of fast, but, you know, really a lot more like 4G. So, impressive quarter for Apple. Well done, guys. Very excited to see what happens in this next quarter that's coming with the new Apple Silicon Macs and more stuff, and the iPhone releases, and oh god, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. Apple One launches today. As I mentioned in the call, Tim Cook announced for the first time that anyone knew about that Apple One launches today, the day after the event, which is interesting because they did a very similar thing with iOS at the September event, where they told everyone, yeah, it's coming tomorrow. That's it. So rather than giving everyone the big heads up that they've been doing in the past, where they give at least like a week's notice or a couple of weeks' notice on things like iOS, they seem to be just like jumping into stuff. Apple One includes Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade and iCloud storage on the personal and family tiers, and then there's a Premier tier as well, which adds Apple News Plus and Fitness Plus. However, that one is expected, I would think, to launch a little bit later, because I can't see anyone paying the extra for the Premier tier when Fitness isn't ready yet. So I don't know when that's going to launch. It said late 2020, so I'm guessing it's going to be out ready for Christmas, but maybe it's going to be another month. Getting bugged by phantom iOS updates? You're not alone. So if you're currently using the iPhone or iOS betas, you may be experiencing this where whenever you open your phone, it's telling you that you need to update from the beta, but there's no update waiting for you. It looks like it's been caused by an incorrect expiry date calculation in the software, but it is really annoying, but it's also not going to affect your phone, don't worry. It's not going to cause any big issues. I'm sure Apple will be rolling out an update probably by the end of the day. And iCave answers. That comes in from Omar Kalpande. Would the MacBook Pro 13-inch 10th generation variant get a price drop, as the new Apple Silicon MacBook 13 or 12 will be equal or better performance as compared to the 10th gen at a much lower price, as per the leaks? Nope. No, it's not going to get a price drop. Not from Apple anyway, because the reason that Apple Silicon is going to be cheaper, and this is one of the things that they'll talk about at the event, presumably, assuming that they're actually going to make it cheaper, is that they're not having to buy the chips from Intel, they're making their own chips, and it's that premium on the Intel chips that is part of the reason they're more expensive. But if you look at what comes inside an iPhone or an iPad, it's a single board, almost everything is within that chip, and then the rest of it that's around it is basically the I/O, a lot of attachments for all of the sensors and the cameras and everything else. So there's going to be a lot less manufacturing to do for the Apple Silicon stuff, and the whole point is that they are doing the manufacturing themselves. So the pricing of the computers is not based on the performance, the pricing is based on the cost it costs them to do it, plus their margin. So I would definitely not expect a reduction from Apple. What you might find though is that in the secondary market, where you're looking at used computers, used Macs, that you might find that the prices of Intel ones really drop quite dramatically, because every year when a new iPhone's released, the previous iPhones will drop in price as second-hand items, not massively, because Apple stuff does hold its value quite well. Now, it might not be as instant as you would expect, because there will still be people out there that need to use things like Boot Camp, which is not going to be built into Apple Silicon Macs. It's not going to be something you can do with an Apple Silicon Mac. What you might be able to do in the future, I don't think at release day, is you might be able to use something like Parallels if you need to run Windows, but don't expect to be able to run Windows necessarily if you're buying an Apple Silicon Mac. That's not what they're for. So hopefully that answers your question. Sorry if it's not the answer you wanted, but it's what I think is going to be the truth. And Notification Squad, we have a few new members, so this is probably like a Notification Squad Pro, but not quite a Pro Max. There's like 4 of you guys. So, new members are Baldsky, Gabriel Bradley, who was on our live stream last night, Adnan Hidayat, and Akshat Garg. Apologies, as usual, if I've butchered anyone's names. And thank you so much for joining the Notification Squad. If you want to join too, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell, and let me know in the comments that you have done. Today's question of the day: are you going to go for Apple One? If you are, let me know which version you're going to pick down in the comments and why. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.